you need to cut a hole that's close to your negative. So you could measure it like this. And the opening of that window should be 1 3/4 inch by 1 1/8. Afterwards, you take your tape, any kind of tape, this is just black masking tape, cover your mask so it becomes black. You can always cover that with the same black tape. Then you would have an opening that's black on the inside too, because it's a bit difficult to paint foam core. And if you paint it and you use paint that's a bit too wet, the board itself will warp. And one of the things that you do not want to happen is for your board to warp, because then it's not going to be a level plane. So you want to make sure that you get that inside nice and covered, and then it'll provide a nice smooth edge on your negatives. The last step to make your mask really neat could be to finish it off on the back side by just putting 4 pieces of tape, so then you don't run the risk of the tape getting stuck onto your negative. So it's a really easy process. Your window just prevents flares on the negative surface, and it also helps isolate the specific frame that you're going to be photographing, the specific frame of your negative that you're going to be digitizing. In some cases, you're going to need to lift your mask higher off the surface of your phone, because if you get it to be too close to your phone, the camera focus could pick up on pixels. So one of the ways that you can kind of go around this is to elevate your mask. So then when you flip this over and you put it over the surface of your phone, the lift is going to be a lot more. I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's lifted off of the surface of the phone. So then when you're photographing your negative on there, it's going to be a lot higher. So the camera, your camera does not pick up on the pixels. So you could just place your negative on top of here. Now that you've finished your foam core mask with some pieces that elevate it from the top of your light source, you're going to go ahead and create a second piece that could line up and go right on top of the first piece. So really, in essence, you're creating a negative carrier, just like we have in a traditional darkroom. And in this negative carrier is what you're going to be using to place your negative in the window, and then you're going to sandwich between the top piece. I mentioned to you guys just to have the foam core on the bottom, because if you have foam core on the top as well, the thickness of the foam core, which will be the thickness of this piece, which right now is actually very thin, you don't want this to be too thick on top that it'll cast a shadow over your negative. So I decided, you guys could try it, but I think it might be better to have a thin one on top. And now this will become your negative carrier. So always on the back, it will be elevated. Foam core goes on the bottom, the thinner piece goes on the top. I would have them line up so it becomes a lot easier for you to be able to maneuver this. And this whole sandwiched negative in its negative carrier will be placed on top of your light source.